Today I'm going to address a hypothetical formalism of that what do we think about the brains? I mean, can the brains of the two persons be entangled? As we understand from physics point of view, what entanglement is, that the two particles interact in such a way that even if you take them to the corners of the universe, the action on one particle will make an action on the another particle. Now let's talk about the entangled brains. Is there a collection of consciousness possible when we make the remarks like the brains that we have, that the humans possess? Now imagine waking up one morning with a thought in your mind that you know it's not yours, a memory you have never maybe lived, a fear you never felt, a dream you never saw, or you never dreamt it. What if your mind is not just your mind? What if thoughts can travel? What if consciousness can synchronize? What if two brains, yours and mine, can become entangled? I'm not saying metaphorically, it's not metaphorically, but physically, scientifically, maybe quantum mechanically. So today we would like to explore one of the most breathtaking ideas in the modern science. And the idea is that, is collective consciousness possible? Can human brains entangle with each other? It's a question bigger than a question can be. So let's begin gently, slowly, what we know about what we are talking about. What does entanglement really mean? Let's try to explore this idea at this point of time. Entanglement is not coincidence. It's not even communication like electromagnetic waves. It's not even telepathy. Entanglement is a correlation so deep, so perfect, so instantaneous that it defies the classical logic. Two particles created together share a connection. You have two particles. They share a connection that the space itself cannot break. Measure one here and the other respond there. Even across the galaxies, even on the edge of the observable universe. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. It was against this logic. But today we call it normal quantum behavior. So if particles can be entangled and you are made of particles, then the question becomes, can your mind inherit the entanglement of your matter that you possess? And this is something that comes in our mind. Can we say that the brain is a symphony of electricity and the quantum mechanical events? Your brain is not a lump of tissues. It's an orchestra of 86 billion neurons, each firing with with maybe electrical and chemical interactions, the rhythms. Every thought you have is a pattern, a vibration, a frequency, a coordinated motion, a wave in a coordinated motion. And beneath these waves, maybe beneath the chemistry, beneath the biology, beneath these subjects lies quantum physics. Electrons tunneling across the synapses, ions flowing through nano channels, molecules vibrations in microtubules, photons emitted during neurotransmissions. This leads the scientists around the globe to ask, could quantum coherence exist in brain? Even briefly, even subtly. Because if coherence exists, entanglement becomes possible. And if entanglement becomes possible, then maybe brains can share information. The particles, the way particles the way particles share the information. Can be an argument. Now, let this be realized. The human mind might not be isolated. When we sit in a room, we feel isolated. It might be connected by physics, not philosophy. It might be connected by the laws of physics with other brains. And there are experiments that raise the eyebrows. Several strange experiments push us closer to the idea. The experiment of twin brain EEG synchronization. Twins placed in separate rooms show similar EEG spikes when one experiences certain stimuli. The same magnitude of signal is observed in another twin. Scientists can call it coincidence, but the waveforms match too closely, too quickly, instantaneously. The split brain quantum test. What's that? If you have two isolated brains, show synchronized phase shifts when exposed to the same random magnetic noise pattern. They change together as if sharing an invisible link between the two persons. There's a project known as the Global Consciousness Project. Random number generators across the world become less random during mass emotional events, earthquakes, global celebration tragedies. Feel as if there's a correlation between all the brains. It's almost as if human consciousness is a global scale, is at global scale briefly becoming one mind. Science doesn't fully accept this yet, but it cannot be ignored. It cannot be rejected. It cannot be denied. It can annoy us. But can two brains really entangle? This is the question that arises in our minds. And the truth about this is that quantum entanglement normally hates warm, wet environments, and your brain is warm, wet, and noisy. But new research shows something stunning. It stuns us. The biological systems can maintain quantum coherence in the birds navigating Earth's magnetic field. In plants, we have the photosynthesis. In proteins that signal through the quantum tunneling. If life uses quantum mechanics, then why can't we say that the brains does the same? Why not consciousness? Why not? Why shouldn't be us? Now, to reveal this argument in some philosophical reversal, now comes the twist. Now, what if the collective consciousness is not an exception, but the default? And what if individual minds share, like the radios around the globe, the tuning into the same universal field? You don't produce consciousness. You receive it. You shape it. Maybe you filter it. And when you tune two radios to the same frequency, their music synchronizes. Whatever is buzzing on radio 1, the same thing will buzz on radio 2. So perhaps we could say that perhaps consciousness works in the same fashion. There has to have that matching of tunes, the frequency match of one radio and the frequency of a match of another radio synchronizing to the same reality. Okay, your mind may not be alone. Your thoughts might not be separate. Your existence might not be isolated. You feel as if you're isolated in a room, having ideas, thoughts. No, it might be the collection of the things going on. The collective consciousness. And there are three possibilities that we can talk about right now. Let's explore these three scientific possibilities. These are not fantasies that I'm talking about. We are not fantasizing the things. We're trying to understand. The very first example is the neural synchronization across the pupil. Brains are showing synchronized gamma waves when people meditate together, share deep emotional bonds, maybe in a mosque, maybe in a temple. So there is that collective synchronization. And science measured it. It's real. There's another possibility. Field-based connectivity. The brains radiate electromagnetic fields. Other brains can respond to these patterns. We can act as antennas, receiving those electromagnetic radiations. We broadcast, we receive, and even we do all of these things without having an actual touch. The third possibility, the quantum level entanglement. Now, if quantum states survive in microtubules, even briefly, two minds interacting might create moment of entanglement. A tiny fragile, but enough to synchronize the intuition, emotion, or decision making, like love, friendship, music, maybe rituals, might all create temporary bridges between the minds. Now, what would an entangled humanity look like? I tried a lot to try to feel about the things that I talked about. Now close your eyes. Imagine a species. Imagine a species where in one person reduces in another. Compassion. Stress spreads less. Love spreads more. Understanding becomes contagious. Imagine creativity spreading like wildfire, not through words, but through emotions. Imagine humans being begins not as isolated islands, but as connected neurons of one giant brain. You and I as cells in the mind of humanity. This is physics. This is not phobia. This is physics taken its final conclusion. Now, to conclude this argument, I would like to say that so is the collective consciousness possible? Not today, not fully, not yet, but physics is opening the door. It's opening the door. Biology is walking through it. Philosophy is watching speechless. Here is the truth. Here is the deepest truth of the universe. Your mind is not a closed room. It's a window. And sometimes when conditions are right, two windows align and become just one view. Whether through quantum process, neural synchronization, field resonance, emotions, or pure presence, your consciousness can connect with another. And if two minds can connect, why not millions? Why not a species? This is the argument. Maybe the future of humanity may not be artificial intelligence, but a collective intelligence, a conscious network made of human minds, entangled through physics, entangled through emotions, and entangled through awareness. Maybe the real evolution is in your bodies, but not in your minds. And maybe the next stage of humanity is not the isolation, the pupil in isolation, but an entanglement. Maybe that can be an argument. That can be the state. We are not alone inside our heads. We never were alone. We are connected. We are one field. We are one consciousness experiencing itself through billions of brains around the globe. This is the science of entangled minds. This is what science can predict